So we welcome all of you. It's a nice big crowd, and we fully apologize for the not having enough room for all of you to be here. So starting in April, we will be in the school so that we can accommodate all of you. We can be all one big happy family in one room because there's a lot of people outside. Right now, we'll have our land acknowledgement to be read by Vice President Zulich.
Thank you. The Buffalo City School District respectfully acknowledges the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, on whose ancestral territory our schools were built. We honor and pay tribute to the indigenous ancestors of the land we use. We acknowledge the historic, intergenerational traumas they have endured and offer hope and opportunities for healing and reconciliation as we go forward together. One key Haudenosaunee principle is to live in peace and harmony with each other and the natural world. All life should be respected and cared for because what happens to one living thing affects all living things. We are grateful for the abundant natural resources in this land of the Haudenosaunee people and for all who work to protect those resources. We acknowledge the Haudenosaunee people as the past, present, and future caretakers of this land and water, and we are grateful for the opportunity to live, work, and educate our children on this ancestral land.
Thank you. We will now have guardrails for the Board of Education to be read by Vice President Everhart.
As the Buffalo Board of Education has committed to becoming a board focused on improving student outcomes, we recognize that our adult behaviors must change to uphold this commitment. As we have given the superintendent specific guardrails that protect the values of our community, we understand the need to establish guardrails for our behavior as a board. The board shall operate within the board's role as defined in Board Policy 1110, 1310, and the board's current operating procedures, specifically as defined in Board Policy 1311 and 6110. The board, either collectively or through the actions of individual board members. Guardrail 1 shall not invest less than 50% of its minutes each month into monitoring student outcome goals. Guardrail 2 shall not perform or appear to perform any of the responsibilities delegated to the superintendent. Guardrail 3 shall not violate any board adopted policy or district procedure. And Guardrail 4 shall not behave in a manner that would violate the student code of conduct.
Thank you. The board held an executive session to discuss number one, proposed settlements of pending litigation matters under New York State Supreme Court Index numbers 81-1495 2019, 803-734 2020, and 806-461 2022. Number two, a proposed acquisition lease of real property that would have its value substantially affected if discussed publicly. And three, for the purpose of receiving legal advice. No official action was taken. At this time, the board welcomes speakers who have signed up to speak at tonight's meeting. Please be reminded that all speakers' remarks must be limited to 3 minutes or less. We ask that speakers be mindful that this is a business meeting, open to the public and televised locally. Attendees and viewers include persons from throughout Western New York, including children. The board asks that speakers conduct themselves professionally and that their comments remain civil and courteous, bearing in mind that they will be heard by people of all ages. If you have printed information to share with us, please do not approach the board table. Provide your information to the district clerk, who will make sure we receive it. This is an opportunity for Buffalo's residents to address the BBOE about issues that serve the public interest and district mission. And the board asks that speakers demonstrate appropriate decorum. meaning that you're not going to insult people, you're not going to point out names, etc. If you do, I will use this and dismiss you. All right, so let's get started.
It was just a warning.
Adriana,
Oh, me? Okay. So, did you want
So first we have Commissioner Macy, interim Buffalo Police Commissioner, on SRO School Resource Officers. Right over here, Commissioner.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for the privilege to be here. Thank you for everybody that's coming out and actually attending these. Meetings like this are absolutely critical. In the last couple of weeks, I've had the privilege to be able to talk to several elected officials from the school board and hear exactly their feedback on the Buffalo Police. Some good, some not so good, and some things that they would like to see improved, right? Some of the very basic things that we can do immediately that we are is showing up to things like this, which we're here. And we will take all of the opinions and advice that we're hearing, we'll compile it, we'll share it with everybody, and then we will make the necessary steps to improve our partnership. So thank you everybody that's here. Thank you everybody that's here, and you'll see us more at these meetings. So thank you.
thank you.
The second speaker is David Aquilina, teacher.
Did you forget
Terry,
Terry?
What?
Terry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, okay, Terry Purdue, a BPS employee, regarding the SAM process.
Good evening to our board members, speakers, and attendees. So this evening I'm going to talk about the good word. The good word is the SAM and the SAM process. So what is the SAM process? The SAM process is a tool to help administrators focus on instructional support, and getting office work done at the office. It is commonly used in K-12, but on November 4th, 2024, it was expanded to adult education. So I am a SAM to my supervisor, Marielle, but I will use principal for ease of understanding. So what is a SAM? A SAM is a school administrator manager. This person holds the principal accountable to their time track schedule and will ask two questions. Did you eat today, and did you disconnect from the office? Those are very important. Time track is the calendar that we use, and it helps us to evaluate how we spent our time for the day. The focus of the SAM process is instructional support. Principals often have to pivot to many, many things, and that's why I am glad we have a first responder tool. For an IT issue, did you reach out to your first responder? No? Okay, why don't you check with them to see if they can handle your issue. So before the SAM process, I used to look at leadership as telling people what to do. However, today I see it as enabling your team to do the best job possible with the greatest level of support. Marielle, my supervisor, would often say that she was doing a great job keeping track of her schedule and instructional leadership, but when we went to the SAM process, we were able to laser focus on instructional support. The SAM process also focuses on people, on the person that teaches. Very important. We support the entire person. They can lean on us for help, and it's a windfall for our students. So in January, Marielle and I were selected to present at the 19th Annual SAM Conference. We shared our story about how we adapted this to adult ed, and we were also challenged with, do your students feel as if they can share their thoughts? Do you have high expectations matched by high support? It was professional development that was relevant, impactful, and applicable to our workday. So in closing, I have an email for each of the board members. It is a recap of our experience at the SAM conference. And I know that SAM costs money, everything does, but the value that we have gotten out of this process, I would pay double for, if I could afford that. So I hope to see this replicated throughout the district, and I'm asking for the board's continued support of this process and helping our principals spread the good word of refining our instructional support through this process. Thank you for your time, and for the clerk, I have the available material here. Okay, okay, that's all. Here you go. All right, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
David Aquilina, teacher, instrumental music funding.
Good evening. My name is David Aquilina, and I am proud to be one of the music teachers at School 72, Lorraine Elementary. I'm here tonight because I believe that the district needs to change how we fund instrumental music, that is band and orchestra, in our schools in order to both preserve access to this incredibly beneficial programs and hopefully to expand access as well. In case anyone is unaware, currently most instrumental music programs are funded out of an individual school's very limited discretionary budget. Even very successful programs can be cut on a whim. At one school I'm aware of, their band program was incredibly successful with enrollments far above expectations. They had received awards and distinctions at Darien Lake Music Fest, and the next year their program was just cut. What kind of message does that send to our students? I don't think it's a good one. Just as the district provides schools with librarians, attendance teachers, and really many other positions based on their enrollments, I believe that the district should be providing schools with instrumental music teachers based on what that school can support. What do schools get out of instrumental music? The most striking thing that I have noticed at my school is it makes children want to be there. They actually say, Mr. A, the only reason I wanted to come to school today was because I had a band lesson today. My band students at Lorraine have less than half the daily absences of the rest of their peers. So far this year, and I ran these numbers today, my band students have an average of 7.8 absences. The rest of their peers have 17.1 absences. Students enrolled in band also tend to be role models. At Lorraine, they are responsible for less than 5% of office discipline referrals at our school, and most of those were for simple cell phone policy warnings. I bet everybody in this room has looked at their cell phone at least once when they shouldn't have. Everything we do in our schools is predicated on students being there, and so having something that makes them want to come is something that we should really lean into. Not only is it the perfect vehicle for reinforcing social and emotional skills, but for our elementary and junior high students, it really is the only part of their experience that they have any say whatsoever over what they're learning, what they're doing, and for a lot of students, it really does open up some unique avenues of success. I'd like to invite any of you to come to Lorraine for a couple of band lessons to see what it's all about. You will see and hear a lot of creativity and joy and hard work. But enough about what I see and what I think you'll see. The most important ones are the students. One of my former students came here tonight to talk about their experiences, and I'm incredibly proud of them for coming because they think everybody else should have their opportunities. I hope that during the ongoing budget process, you will do everything you can to ensure that schools have strong instrumental programs and to keep music teachers in their schools full-time as much as possible. Thank you so much for your time.
Next speaker is Edward Spidell, parent.
He's not here. We just need a moment for the students that are with us to come into their room as well, but Ed is not here.
Okay, thank you.
Call that young, that other student.
Do you want?
Next speaker, Eleanor Rott, instrumental music funding for schools.
That's why I made that comment, because I saw this.
Is Eleanor
Didn't show
here?
up.
Oh, okay.
Hello, my name is Eleanor. I'm a 10th grade vocal major at Performing Arts, and I will be talking about my experience in band. I started band at Lorraine in 7th grade. I started with the flute and found good friends in the band community. Later in my 8th grade year, I started playing the piano and joined jazz band. I carried my love for music to Performing Arts Academy as a dual vocal and band major. I started playing the clarinet towards the end of my 9th grade year. It took longer than expected because most of the clarinets had broken parts to it. So I think the district getting the fund will help fix the problem because they're able to fix the problem head on than having to wait a long time. And that's why I think the district's getting the money helps benefit bands, singers, instrumenters.
Next, we have Amy Cross Viola, teacher, regarding budget cuts to art at Arthur O. Eve School 61.
Good evening. Excuse me. Our names are Rachel Owane, Shauna McBride Coe, and Amy Cross Viola, and we have children at School 61. Take time to mourn the dreams that you have for him. Those were the words of advice that the doctors gave us when my son was diagnosed with autism at 3 years old. They said he would likely never speak, and even if he did, it would be minimal. He struggled with sensory and social needs, and we wondered what school would be like for him. Fast forward a few years, and I am overjoyed to stand here and tell you that he is thriving at Arthur O. Eve. Last year, his teacher sent me a video of him doing a stand-up comedy routine at a school assembly. He took it upon himself to try out for the school play, and 2 weeks ago, he sang a solo in front of hundreds of people in the school's Black History Month performance. Our story, though, is not unique to in Arthur O. Eve. Our daughter now attends, plays violin, and is also thriving. Both children have grown academically and exceed grade level expectations. Families across the school, including many families of students with disabilities, have similar stories to share. Why is this possible at Arthur O. Eve? Because it does not treat arts like an add-on, like an extracurricular activity that's a nice to have. It treats it like an integral component of their curriculum. It weaves creative thought and exploration into critical thinking work, and it embraces creative expression as the necessary element of development of intellectual capacity. This is what all children deserve. And knowing this is why the district had the foresight to write this program into existence when Arthur O. Eve underwent its transformation in 2015. And as you'll hear from the school data, it was right.
Studies have shown that children who receive education that include learning an instrument and theater excel in areas such as math, language, and verbal memory. At Arthur O. Eve, we have stats to back that evidence up as these programs support our children's overall education, well-being, and experience a well-rounded education. When you look at our district report cards in 2024 and 2025, we have an overall proficient score that was 20% higher than the district's average and 1% higher than the state average, leading with 55% proficiency in ELA and 55% proficiency in math scores. At Arthur O. Eve, we have in the School of Distinction, in February of 2015, we had a mission to merge with our academic rigor in the visual and performing arts, guaranteeing and highlighting its specialized focus on arts and education. When you look back at our school reports cards, sadly, we were not proficient in any areas, any grade level. Once we began this program, we've seen a dramatic improvement in the first year of 15% and an increase in the numbers, and a steady rise over the years. If you were to cut these programs, you'd be cutting out parts of the body that make Arthur O. Eve breathe and move. This will be a loss to our school assemblies and performances that highlight our students and give opportunities otherwise have missed. This could also be a loss and as accessibility issue for students who have physical and intellectual Yes, that's to be distributed. That's our entire presentation.
Thank
Unfortunately, 3 minutes is not a lot of time, but we would really like to keep this program.
Next speaker, Maureen Uted McNamara, counselor regarding SST.
Good evening. Before I speak on my topic tonight, I just want to take a moment to publicly express my sincere gratitude to the board and especially to the superintendent. We understand that in January, the superintendent traveled to Albany to advocate for additional funding for school counselors, and we are very, very thankful for that kind of advocacy. We just wanted to make sure we said thank you publicly. As a spokesperson for the school counselors, however, I receive frequent calls and emails from colleagues across the district. Recently, many of those conversations have centered around the growing concerns of potential cuts within our student support teams. I want the board and the community to understand that although it's been publicly stated and widely agreed upon that cuts to student support teams would be harmful to students in Buffalo, we are seeing reductions in school-based budgets, many school-based budgets. In some cases, budget allocations are being shifted in ways that make school counselors and social work positions interchangeable, cutting one position to fund another. This reflects a fundamental misunderstanding of the unique role of each member of your student support teams. While there may be some overlap in the work that we do, the core responsibilities of each role are distinct and specialized. Each position brings specific training, expertise, and services to students every day. If a school needed an algebra teacher, would you hire an English teacher to replace that position? If a school needed a physical education teacher, would you replace it with a social studies teacher? That is what's happening between our student support teams. Student support team members are no different. We are a group of highly trained, unique professionals. Our degrees are specialized. Each member of our student support team is hired within this district at the top of the pay scale at Masters Plus 30. Because of our additional graduate credits that we must receive to become a social worker, a school counselor, or a psychologist. When our teams are properly staffed and able to perform the roles we are trained to do, the results are clear. Improved attendance, fewer suspensions, stronger social emotional skills, better academic performance, and higher graduation rates. As in my previous appeals to you when I've spoken to you before, I urge the Board of Education to please remove the student support teams from the school-based budgets. The minimum number of school counselors, social workers, and psychologists should be determined by the student enrollment and special education needs in each building. And those positions should not be substituted from one another. Let me emphasize, this is not about protecting jobs. This is about protecting the minimum level of support for our students in the city of Buffalo. They deserve this. This is an urgent matter, and we hope the board will continue working with us to ensure that every student in the district has access to the supports that they need, no matter what school they attend.
Next speaker is Jamie Paulini, counselor regarding SST, social workers, and the budget.
Good evening, Superintendent Zenga, esteemed board, and district leaders. I come before you this evening as a co-chair of the social workers. First, I would like to share with you a couple stories that represent the positive impact school social workers can have. Over the last several months, one of my students within the safe space of a counseling room has begun to connect for the first time and verbalize how trauma that he experienced as a young child significantly impacted his ability to learn. As the student has begun to process this trauma, his behavior has improved. And last week, he bounced into my room so excited to tell me that his iReady scores went up 7 grade levels from the beginning of the school year. Along with great teaching, counseling can have a powerful impact on improving academic outcomes. According to a research study by Michelle Alvarez, published in the Children in Schools Journal, the analysis of variance results indicated that the number of school social workers was a significant predictor of the number of students who completed high school in 100 of the largest school districts in the United States. Also, several years ago, when speaking with a father of one of the general education students that I work with to provide informal counseling and social emotional supports, he thanked me for all the support I provided to his son that year. His son was a victim of bullying. He knew I helped to protect his son and how I confronted and addressed the bullying. His words will stay with me always, as he said, I don't know if my son would be alive today if it wasn't for you. I am just one of many building-based social workers in this district whose stories represent our steadfast dedication to helping our students. As the 26-27 budgets were being prepared, I spoke here in January to advocate for our student support teams. At that time, Dr. Mubenga, you had reassured us of your support, acknowledging the student needs and the positive impact we have on our community. We very much appreciate your support and your appeal to the state for the additional monies for our student support teams. However, despite the support currently, there are 13 building social workers that are projected to be cut from their school-based budgets. These cuts are not being made because we're not needed, but rather the budgets are limited by the administrator's belief that our position should be funded by the special ed department. Currently, SPED only provides one social worker per building, no matter how large the student enrollment is, or how many special ed students there are, or how many behavior-based classrooms there are, no matter how many students receive IEP mandated counseling. We are asking for your help to change this inflexible system within the special ed department. For the sake of our children, we must ensure that the number of SST members, and more specifically our social workers in each building, are right-sized to meet the student needs. Thank you.
Next speaker is Stacy Ali, a teacher, regarding board cuts for SST members.
Before I read this, I just want to say this. I want to preface by saying you hired me to do what I'm about to do, and don't let the tone distract from the message, because I'm just very passionate, okay? So I don't want it to come across as disrespectful. Okay, fair. Ready? Okay. Good evening, Dr. Mubenga and distinguished board members. My name is Stacy Ali. I'm a school social worker at Riverside, number 208. I just want to let you know that, well, as you all know, Buffalo is recognized as one of the most impoverished and segregated cities in the United States. BPS is also guilty of perpetuating this cycle and the inequity that it does not provide equal access for all. An example of our criterion-based schools' average demographic consists of strong academic foundation, which includes two-parent households, post-secondary education. This demographic provides students with basic life needs, such as food, clothing, shelter, safety, love. Our students at Riverside significantly lack these basic human needs. Excuse me. Research proves that students living in poverty face significant barriers extended beyond academics, including chronic stress, trauma, limited access to mental health care. We are those people for them. Also, it also, with our impact, it improves their attendance, it improves their mental health, it improves their communication skills, it improves their ability to attend to their academics. The long term of this is that if we don't pay now, we're going to pay later. Our students suffer. We cannot afford to have them going to the street with nothing. The environment that we support them with is full of love, and our students deserve that. Our babies deserve that. They are all of our children, and if we don't pay now, then we're going to pay later, and so are they. The one thing I want to say is that we are being cut, our social worker, our psych, and I'm just going to give you a couple of examples. We have one student who was homeschooled for a couple of years. He started coming to Riverside. He felt the love. He felt, the support. He is now a student on the merit roll. He's coming every day. He still has mental health issues, but we are his support. And we also have a couple other students that are special ed students that were kind of counted out in their elementary because of their behavior. They have come here and they feel love. They know how to communicate and talk things out. And with the support that social workers and psychologists and student support teams give these children, it's like when you're cutting us, you're expecting them to meet the same. We're running a race. Let's say we have Hutch Tech or whatever. We're at the same. We want to get them to the goal, but our kids are in a wheelchair and the other kids are able-bodied. And now what you're doing is you're taking that wheelchair away. You expect them to get there, but you're cutting off their limbs and their legs, which is us. We are the people that are getting them to the finish lines. They will come here and tell you they believe in Riverside. They feel supported. They say, "Man, it just gets a bad rap, but it's so nice here. It feels like a family." And those will increase. Look at our suspensions. We have had one fight all year. These kids are growing. They're doing better. Please, please do it for the kids. This is not about me. It's not about you. It's about our community and their future.
Now we have Mark Bruno, teacher, regarding factual inaccuracies with the false graph reports.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Bruno. I'm a teacher at Riverside High School and also the delegate chair for the Buffalo Teachers Federation. I just want to give a shout out to Miss Ali. She's actually a SST member at my school, and they are fabulous, our whole SST team, and just, you know, are so supportive to our students and so vital to the success we have at our schools today. I want to give a huge shout out to ASL Karen Murray, who has been so supportive for Riverside for years now and really helped us get on the right track, and we thank you so very much for your I'm here to talk about something that happened actually a while ago in 2023 when we were going through some difficult times at Riverside. A student was unfortunately slashed in the face during a physical altercation. That incident is in the Rupp-Feldsgraf report that just recently came out. And if you look at the parts I highlighted, it said that no students from Riverside were involved in the altercation. That is totally factually inaccurate. Several of our students stomped the alleged slasher. One of our students was slashed in the face. So that, like, there's only a few paragraphs about the incident and almost all of it is factually inaccurate. It also says that the student did not come in the building. That is factually inaccurate as well. And why is this concerning to me? We have come such a long way at Riverside. We are the only school in the entire city to not have a physical altercation. And if you know where we came from to get to that, that's huge. I'm calling this the Riverside Renaissance. So many good things are happening, but this report completely downplays what we went through. Our student, it says no students were involved. Several of our students were involved, including the student who was stabbed. There was blood all over the front hallway. The student was worried that they were gonna die. And it really, this report cheapens what everyone went through at the school. And I know we paid close to over $40,000 for this report. It really needs to be amended. And if the attorney, I did speak with the attorney, if the attorney could come and speak to our administrative team, I'm sure we could clear up the factual inaccuracies. But the whole purpose of this report was to show that there was not a cover-up for any of the things reported. And this kind of makes it look like there was a cover-up because it's all factually inaccurate. So I'm pleading the whole board could get behind having this amended for Riverside. We deserve to know what happened there to make sure it never happens again. And we have come such a long way. We have so many wonderful students there and so many good things are happening. But this is not fair to anyone at our school, and I hope you could all support the report being amended. Thank you so much.
Maria Dockery, Burgard Alumni Association, regarding upkeep of the building.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Maria Dockery. I'm the vice president for our alumni, Burgard High School. Our mission is simple, but yet vital. We aim to foster lifelong connections between our graduates and the school, promoting a sense of trust, understanding while raising necessary funds to ensure Burgard's continued growth and legacy. whether it's through scholarships, reunions, preserving the traditions of Burgard. We also have a support that is tangible to where we are connecting students with internships through Auto, through Westherb, through M&T and internships, opening doors to professional careers before they even get an opportunity to graduate. We also recognize that students cannot focus if their family is struggling. So therefore, this past school year, we provided turkey giveaways, Tops gift cards during the homecoming and holiday season for all families to where they can feel the support from the community during these important times of the year. We also do a mentorship and a student wellness. I personally come in and do donuts and conversation girl talk with some of the young ladies that are at the school. During this time and during this conversation, come to find out that there was some things that were not accessible to the young ladies, which is completely unfair. I used to be a female that went to Burgard, and the students are not allowed or not given accessibility to sanitary napkins, which is not acceptable and is not okay. And there is not a proper place for them to dispose of it if that time of the month happens to come. They just can't. And those are real concerns. The concerns have been taken to the principal. The principal in turn has taken them to the engineer. They have fell on deaf ears. In closing, we are more than just a group of former students. We are a permanent support system that are choosing to invest our professional, physical, and emotional well-being and ensuring that Burgard legacy remains strong. And thank you for your time and for your support. We really need, I got a little time, I didn't know if I was gonna get it or not. We really need, there's gonna be a couple of our colleagues that are gonna come up behind me. This building, if you walk in here, you will be ashamed of it. There is no reason that we have an engineer that we're giving them money for them to go in and do this for our babies. This is not acceptable. I run a homeless shelter, and I promise you, our homeless shelter looks better than that school does. That is not acceptable, and it is not okay. But they will go into that afterwards. Thank you.
Next speaker, we have Ron Dockery, Burgard Alumni Association, regarding upkeep of the building.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening concerning Burgard Vocational High School. I graduated in '83. Into the military, came home, got married, raised a family. The first time I've been back in that building was last year when we started the Burgard Alumni Association. I immediately noticed a decline in the building. There are lights that don't work on certain floors. Any one of you in here, if there's a bulb that goes out in your house, if your husband or your son or the missus that may handle it doesn't take care of that within a day, it's a problem. Somebody's hollering about the lights out. We go to board meetings every other week and there's lights out in the building that have been there since last year. You have 2 people that staff that building to clean it. There are 47 classrooms. There are 4 floors. There's no way in the world you're cleaning 47 classrooms, 4 floors every night. So consequently, when we come through the building, say you go to the restroom during the meeting, you walk into a bathroom, it's filthy. You don't want to use it. You don't want to touch it. There's garbage everywhere. You got young people. We all know the culture of Buffalo has changed. When you see that for children, what do you think it conveys to them? They look at it as trash. Am I worth just trash? I live in Williamsville. We have children that go to Williamsville. You walk in that building, it's unbelievable the amount of money that's spent in that place. But you get what you pay for. I just say, and I'm not calling out any names, we are not getting what we pay for. You have two people that's taking care of that building and it's not getting done. And when it's asked, we're blown off or dismissed. We would like the board to do something about this. You give children a look of cleanliness, you give them a chance of hope. Thank you for your time.
Al Parker, Burgard Alumni Association, upkeep of the building. Thank you.
I'm not Al Parker.
I'm
Jimmy
sorry.
Darby.
Jimmy Darby, thank you, sorry about that.
Al's the president.
Hello.
He asked
Al's
me to
next.
come up first, but, thank y'all for having me, for, superintendent and everybody. My name is Jimmy Darby. I'm, graduate 1989, Burgard, worked the program, had a lovely career in auto mechanics, worked, in the different dealerships and the program does work. We developed this alumni team so we can support the students at Burgard so that they can hear and be heard, and the concerns that we had when we were going to Burgard is still there. Shouldn't be. We also concerned about programming that Burgard no longer have, such as collision, such as aviation, just things. But as you can see, we are more than former students. We are mentors, advocates, and support networks. We're in the history of pride of Burgard legacy. Our team represents decades of experience across trades, higher education, community work, and all leadership. And our mission is to make sure every student at Burgard feels seen, supported, and prepared for the future. Rest of the team will introduce.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Richard Marion, and I'm a Burgard alumni as well. Being a Marine as well, I know a little bit about being a professional, being held accountable. When I was 17, I was accountable for a multi-million-dollar aircraft. So some of the things we noticed at Burgard, like they spoke about, we had a student left on the toilet because he had no toilet paper to wipe his behind.
Oh, boy.
Again, like she said about our beautiful females. Someone didn't have the napkins, what she said earlier. Hand dryers were promised for people to blow their hands dry. Nothing. One of the bathrooms on the first floor has been closed for a year. So kids got to go from the first floor to the second floor. And y'all know how that is when you're in school. You in the hallways, they wonder why you in the hallways. But just talking about our kids. We're here to support them. And we need to have people held accountable for our children. Like Ron said, if we're not giving them hope, I walk these streets. I work at M&T at IT. I walk these streets, and a lot of times I see my people walking with their head down like they lost. Nobody's uplifted or nothing. Not saying that the janitor or the custodian, the engineer needs to be that, but he needs to be a role model. I didn't ask to be a role model, but I am one. I got 10 grandchildren. So I'm supporting these kids and supporting my grandchildren. So let's do what we need to do for these kids. Thank you, Stefan. Appreciate it.
Now we have Al Parker. Are you ready? All right. The Burgard Alumni Association, upkeep of the building.
I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Al Parker, class of '87, which is the best year ever. But I'm here to talk about several issues at Burgard. I have reached out to several members of the board, the cabinet, and we just have major concerns. We're not here to blame or point. We just want to get a plan of action to get it done and corrected. Give you a little background on myself. I have a commercial cleaning business that started in 2000, so I know what a building takes to be clean. I do schools, I do medical buildings and construction. So I do have some background in cleaning. I also have a small development company that, I have background of Local 41, so I have some background of construction and engineering and facility. Actually, right now I'm employed as a city building inspector. So I can't come into a building and see what's wrong with it and inspect it properly. So I'm not just a person coming in here complaining without any experience. All right. So there's several things. We just want to know who's the one to be accountable. The engineer for the building? Who's over the engineer? If he doesn't do what he's supposed to do, who do we reach out to other than the principal? The principal said he put some tickets and the tickets don't get taken care of. So, you know, who are the responsible parties at that point to take care of it and make sure it gets done? As you see, you can look in these packages, you see these buildings, we have a speaker hanging by a wire right now. That's child endangerment. If a kid walks through there and that thing falls and it hits a head, that's child endangerment. So nobody's stepping up to the plate right now. We really want you guys to like really take a part of coming in there. And I know it don't happen overnight. We're not expecting for it to happen overnight. We just want the support. We're here as volunteers to give back to the kids. You know, we can talk about athletics. I talk to certain people in the athletic department. We want to build this thing back up. We had really pride and we really cared about it there. You can see I'm in a Letterman jacket, you know, because I was proud to go to Burgard. You know, we want to bring that pride back into Burgard. How do we do that? I'm asking you guys for that assistance. I really appreciate Mr. Wright coming in at our board meeting when I reached out. You came to our meeting. You gave us some insight. I would love to reach out to you guys and you guys come to the building, walk through the building with us. Because we're here for the kids, nobody else, just the kids. And they should be really going to school like that, you know? So I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. There's so much more we can talk about, but I know I have 3 minutes. I need 3 more minutes. Somebody give me 3 minutes. But thank you very much for your time.
Mr. Darrell Keith Woods, BPS Plants Department, regarding renaming of Public School 53. Mr. Wood is the grandson of Nan M. Wood and a former highly regarded principal and trailblazing educator.
Mr. Mubunji, how are you, Superintendent? Ms. Brown, board members, today is an emotional day for me. Forgive me, I'm trying my best to do my 90 seconds, but it's 2 decades into working. Good evening, members of the board, Mr. Superintendent, and this community. My name is Darrell Keith Wood. I'm the supervisor of capital development, Buffalo Public Schools. I stand today before you as the grandson of Nan and Wood, representing the Wood and McCarley family. It's with profound honor and deep emotional moment to reflect on this resolution. My grandmother first was foremost, she was a mother of 5, a grandmother, a great-grandmother, and her roles carried unwavering love, strength, and purpose. But her impact reached far behind our family. She believed that every child, regardless of their background, deserved to see the world and its full possibilities. In the early 80s, she took young people to Washington, D.C., and she also did something very extraordinary. She took elementary kids across the Atlantic Ocean to Europe. She took them to the Mediterranean, and she also took them across the Pacific to Asia, opened their eyes to cultures and histories and dreams far bigger than they will ever imagine. At that time when such opportunities were rare, especially for young students in our community, she made the world accessible. She did not just teach lessons, she expanded their horizons. She did not just care for children, she championed them. To see her name just considered for Buffalo Public Schools is more than recognition. It's a continuation of her life and her struggles. It ensures the future generations will not only learn from those walls, but be inspired by the legacy of someone who believed in their limitless potential. On behalf of my family, the McCurley family, and the Wood family, and individuals all around the world, we thank you for honoring her life, her vision, and enduring impact on our community. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Next, we have a student, Aluel Baum, regarding solutions, not suspensions. And if you could please just pronounce your name for us. Thank you.
My name is Alibo Bone.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alibo. I'm a sophomore and a youth community worker. The reason I chose this topic is due to experience what it's like to be suspended and knowing people who have been suspended. The effects of being suspended can lead to a decline in mental health and eventually can lead to depression. When students come back from suspension, they lose rapport that they had with either staff, students, or administrators, which leaves students feeling isolated or even dehumanized. Being out of school for long periods leaves students with bad grades and missing work. With a literacy rate of 25 to 27% and attendance rate of 77%, instead of suspending students and sending students home, we should find solutions on how to keep students safe in school, avoiding the school-to-prison pipeline, and increasing literacy and attendance rates. Even after the district was investigated by the Attorney General, who reported saying that suspension seemed to be a last resort and we should use restorative practices, 2 of our youth community health workers were suspended for issues that could have been addressed through a conversation. We hope to see progress for you to listen to student voices and find solutions to the suspensions. Thank you.
Najib Hussein, a student, solutions, not suspensions.
Good evening. My name is Najib Hussein. I am a youth community health worker and a 10th grader at Homestead. Recently, Attorney General Letitia James confirmed that in Buffalo Public Schools, students are more likely to get suspended if they are Black or have a disability. People are always told that Buffalo Public Schools is a restorative district, but with the new data, is that actually the case? Most suspensions are viewed as a quick solution to deal with a student. A student makes a mistake, they are sent home, and schools expect students to change this bad behavior. But when students who have been suspended come back to school, they oftentimes feel behind in their schoolwork and disconnected from their community at school. Students are even more likely to repeat the behavior again due to the fact that suspensions don't address the root cause of the problem. However, restorative practices focus on actually ensuring that the problem is solved. Not only do restorative practices teach students empathy, responsibility, and communication, but they also teach students how to deal with their problems in a healthy way. I, as well as other students, say that when we do check-ins at school, it makes us feel happier because we know that there are people that care about us. If schools simply took the time to see how students are feeling, it could help limit the amount of problems that students are getting into. A restorative practice can be as simple as doing a fist of 5, where you hold up a number with your fingers, and a 1 means you are not feeling good, and a 5 means you are feeling amazing. We use this to see how we can help students with lower numbers feel better. Or it can even be a full restorative circle. I am asking the district to hear our voices and actually implement steps to resolve this issue. I encourage you all to rethink the discipline policies in school and work together with all stakeholders to try to incorporate more restorative practices. We're not trying to blame the Board of Education. We are just trying to find a solution, as I'm sure you are too. Thank you.
Next, we have Abdullah Al-Hanif, a student, regarding solutions, not suspensions.
Mayor.
Hey, Mayor. Hey, Mayor.
Hi. Good evening, honorable board members, and good evening, Dr. Mubenga. My name is Abdullah Al-Hanif. I'm a sophomore at Alumni High School. Shout out to my old teachers from Riverside. They're amazing staff. I really like them, and I hope I can meet them again. So it's sad to see our hard work as students pay off. The Attorney General's office made it crystal clear in terms of suspensions and what is happening with students. I'm lucky to have the opportunity to be at a school that respects me and is playing a crucial role in my development. Unfortunately, I know some of my peers and students at other schools are not getting the same treatment. At my school, when my friends need to be disciplined for doing something, I've never seen them be suspended. Instead, they learn from their mistakes. Thanks to the real leadership at my school. It's obvious that different schools have a different approach when it comes to discipline. Instead of a standardized approach that helps disciplining the future of Buffalo. Having respectful students needs people who respect them. We hope that we comply with the AOD. Please, we need to shape the future of Buffalo. We have been showing up and advocating for what we need, and it's time for the board to show up for us like how we show up for you. Thank you so much.
Next, Shannon Morgan, student, solutions, not suspensions.
My name is Shannon, and I'm here with the youth community health workers. I'm here to speak about a recent suspension I had last week. Last week I was in gym class, and
Speak up a little, Shannon.
I was in gym class, and I kicked a basketball in front of one of my classmates. Meaning no harm at all. The gym teacher knew he was playing around and joking, but instead of that, the reason they gave me a 5-day suspension, I feel like the 5-day suspension wasn't needed. Even lunch detention was appropriate. The consequence. When I came back to school, we had a suspension. And when I came back from suspension, I had a meeting with the school, including parents and Jessica, and I was able to explain what happened then. I wish that was happened before I was suspended. I missed out on schoolwork or stuff like that. That's pretty much it. Thank you for listening.
What school do you go to?
I go to IFA. I go to Grover.
Thank you.
We have another student with us speaking, Agit Malang, also solutions, not suspensions.
My name is Agit Malang. I'm a youth community health worker. Last month, the Attorney General issued a report stating that Buffalo Public Schools rely too much on suspensions and that schools should focus on solutions and use restorative practices to improve accountability, communication, and and repair harm. I have seen how suspending students has often pushes them further away from school and does not address the root problem. From personal experience, being suspended felt isolating and lonely. It made me fall behind on my schoolwork, which made catching up even harder once I returned. Keeping students in schools while helping them make better choices more effective and a supportive solution. I hope we could talk more about I hope we can talk more with you about our experience as students and be a part of the plan to work together, focus on solutions and not suspensions. Thank you.
Danielle Grismelia, a parent, changing adult behaviors.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Danielle Grismala. I am the co-chair of the Buffalo Parent Teacher Organization. I'm also privileged to be able to work with these beautiful young people that are very, very vocal and speak out about what's going on in their experiences in the school. We need to focus on changing adult behaviors, right? We already know student outcome focused governance is about changing adult behavior, right? If we don't change our behavior, the outcomes aren't going to change. So I wanted to talk about that because what our students are experiencing is so varied in every school. That report says so, right? So we know that we're working hard to find these solutions, but the behaviors aren't changing. And a month ago, we were presented with this information and we're still seeing suspensions that are overcharges, silly things. It is not okay to take Shannon out of school for 5 days for something like that. That's a conversation. That's restore that situation, have that conversation, and let him continue to do his work. Help him graduate on time. And having these kids out of school is not going to do that. I think one of the other things that we hear a lot from our youth is the amount of adults using their cell phones in the classroom. the students are forced to put theirs away. Yet they're watching their teachers on the cell phones all day. Now, having to take a call or do something here and there, got it. They're adults, they have responsibilities like that. But I'm going to guarantee that it is not all day something very important that they are working on their phones. So I really just want to lift up changing our behaviors and looking at the disparities between the schools and seeing what works and spreading that among the rest. What's happening at Da Vinci, what those students are afforded, every student in the district deserves that. What they're doing at Olmsted, every student deserves to have that be a priority. Your education is a priority. Staying in class is a priority. Restoring kids, giving them consequences that are appropriate for whatever they've done that's appropriate. And we're not saying, oh, well, don't punish. We're saying don't punish. We're saying give consequence. Okay, so that's most of what I wanted to say. And then I also wanted to lift up the work that we're trying to do to restore our kids. That starts with our SST teams. And to hear all these social workers talk about, well, we're going to be cutting social workers. We have a lot of work to do, and I don't know how we're going to get that work done if we're cutting social workers. So I just wanted to lift all of that up, and I thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Now we have Jessica Bauer Walker, parent, and more solutions, not suspensions.
Good evening, Superintendent Mabenga and board members. I have to say I'm upset. I'm sad. I was here last month and the month before and the month before and the month before and the month before. We've been talking about solutions, not suspensions for over a decade. We were so excited to see that assurance of discontinuance. I know it's a hard thing to face, but I said, we're facing it. We can do hard things together. That was my message last month. These students, the stuff that they're saying, these are the words of the Office of the Attorney General, which are incredibly validating to us and to our students. These are their words, not mine. The OAG's extensive findings reveal that significant disparities in how student discipline was imposed at public schools in Buffalo. Black and Latino students were suspended at significantly higher rates than white students, especially for minor misconduct, such as tardiness and other low-level infractions. The district routinely issued maximum suspensions for first-time or minor offenses and imposed suspensions for conduct that cannot legally result in suspension. In some cases, Black students were more than 6 times more likely, and Latino students nearly 4 times more likely to receive out-of-school suspension than their white counterparts. What are we doing? What are we doing? Students with disabilities also face substantially higher suspension rates and lost far more instructional time than many of their peers. Students with disabilities were often sent home early without documentation and illegal informal suspension. The OIG also identified systemic concerns affecting student and families' rights, including unclear and inconsistent discipline. Multiple families reported facing retaliation for speaking out about BPS's disciplinary systems, including referrals to Child Protective Services or threats involving public services. You're not doing anything right now. The stuff that's happening to these kids, the suspension cases, I was involved with my own kids. My own daughter, she's out of the system. You heard her. These children, the cases I've been in, the suspension hearings I've sat in, the schools I've gone to, kicking the ball out from underneath somebody. We had another student who was carrying dog mace with her because she's afraid to walk on the street. Instead of asking her what she needs to be safe, you pull her out of school. We have to stop, y'all. This is not normal. We have to disrupt this cycle. We can do it. We have to do it together. You can't do it by yourself. The AG's office can't do it. I can't do it by myself. These kids are left to defend themselves with nothing. Please help us. Do you know how hard it is to organize these kids and bring them here every month? Out of suspension, I had a counselor say, can you help me with the student's attendance? We're worried he's at risk for not graduating. Come to find out he's suspended. The disconnects are profound. Our buildings are crumbling. Our social workers and guidance counselors are asking for help. And we're going to put building administrators in charge of compliance at our buildings. No shade to our administrators. They need help. A lot of them are doing their level best. This is not working. Please, solutions. We want to work with you. Sit with us. Work with us. Partner with us. Let us not be in an adversarial posture. Let's work together. Please. Thank you.
South, social worker, school budget disproportionality.
Good evening, I'm Sterling South, I'm the co-chair of the social work department. I'm just gonna jump right into it. So, as you heard from our scholars as well as our parents, restorative practices, right? That's not a new buzzword, right? We as a district, we already have the infrastructure. We have already been doing the work. Prior to COVID, COVID happened and everything just kind of got, pushed off to the side. So this isn't something new, right? Our SST teams have already been in our buildings doing the work. But due to other priorities that have been thrown on us, it kind of has gone to the wayside. I will own that, right? Our building at South Park High School, prior to COVID, every teacher had to do a restorative circle, right? And at first we got pushback, but thank God to Dr. Morrell, who isn't here, we used to have disproportionality workshops, right? This is before CRI. And we would come together, we took an implicit bias test, and then we had to share the results with each other. We confronted our biases together, right? That, you know how powerful that was? I remember, sorry for just but I remember being in a room with Dr. Bullock, and it was all the high schools over at West Hurdle, and in her professional, lovely way, confronted the school staff and the principal in regards to making sure they state her child's name correctly. And how powerful that is. Yes, right, how powerful that is. And I remember, right, not being like afraid to have that conversation, embraced it, right? And so as the parents said, right, we have to address our behaviors, right? I will own that, but this isn't something new. This is something that we, and hopefully the board and superintendent just will go back to and make it a priority, right? Back in 2018, 2019 school year, Dr. Morrell charged us to decrease our suspension rates by 4% for our Black boys. We had a specific goal, right? So this isn't some new work that we're asking to be done. It's just simply we have to go back to it. But we can only do that if we have the infrastructure in our buildings. And so I'm here tonight on behalf of the social workers and SST team to just simply say, like, if we cut our positions, right, if we go back down to the one where our priority would just be special ed, right, we are already inundated with CSE cases, right, which partly also was a goal back then when we were to declassify our Black boys, right? So we used to do very important work, and not that we're not now, but it's just everything is a priority to where now nothing gets done because it's so much to do. And so all I'm asking is that we just look at, right, what is the priority, which this AG report is, right? We charge our SST teams, our principals with making sure we go back to restorative practices, right? And we do the work, but we need the infrastructure. We need to maintain our teams whole in order to do that. So I thank you all.
Thank you all speakers. Your comments are well noted and we hear you. And also I just want to make a note that in the future, make sure that you are on the speakers list. We had a couple of people who weren't on the list, and they were appropriate, but you have to be on the list. That's just protocol. Did you want to speak to the speakers?
All right, thank you.
Why people weren't on the speakers list? Can we address that? Since you just mentioned it.
Excuse me. What is the question?
Can we address what you just said about the speakers list? Because when we call, nobody calls back and nobody responds, and so we leave messages and nobody responded to anybody in terms of.
Well, that's fine. I think all the speakers were appropriate.
I just want to make sure
today.
You knew what happens when people call.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Board President. I think I have a lot of materials here that I need to react to. I'm gonna start off with the cutting of art and music in our schools. I just want our folks to calm down. We are going through the budget process. We have different level. We go level 1, level 2. Then it comes to superintendent. Then we make those decisions. No decisions has been made whether or not we're cutting a position when it comes to our music in our schools. So stay tuned. We're gonna make sure that we are really supporting those programs that made our families to choose our schools. That's number one. Number two, when it comes to school counselors, I've worked with our finance team. I made sure that we're not cutting that. I said it before, and I'm gonna say this again. At the level 2 budget report that's brought to me, I only see there were 6 schools that they were struggling whether or not they wanted to keep social workers versus counselors. At the last principals meeting, I told principals, we have a clear guidance about what school counselors are supposed to be doing. Because those 6 schools, they wanted to swap from counselor to social workers. So you're robbing Peter to find John. So we had those conversations. I was able to push them back to our chief that's responsible for school counselors. Say, after that conversations, I'm not planning to cut any social workers or school counselors, but when it comes to swapping, that's a decision that's at the school-based level that you guys have to have conversation with your principals. At the district level, we're trying to protect that, but they're pushing, they want to swap, so there were only 5 or 6 schools, but everybody else, they were trying to protect their position. Burgard High School, I heard you, and I was looking at our capital outlay, the amount of money that we have to maintain our 71 buildings. It's only about $7 million. That's not enough to be able to maintain those buildings. But at the same time, I've seen also some funding that's maybe sitting there where schools were supposed to paint. We have 2 painters in our schools, in our district, but we have money there that we can contract with other folks. That's some work that we need to do on our end. So to Burgard folks, we're able to send folks there over the weekend. They were able to clean up what they were able to on Monday as well. But my apologies, the way our schools are looking, and we have to do our best to be able to make sure that our buildings are looking the way they're supposed to be. Solution, no suspensions. I heard you, but at this one I'm going to say, when it comes to OAG report, it came to us about a month ago. Students, parents, and families in the community, you got to work with us. We're not expecting everything to change in about a month. These are the steps that we're able to take. Number 1, we are revising our code of conduct. We need your input so that we can make it better. Number 2, I heard about alternative to suspensions. Training happened before, during COVID. Are we really following up with that? That's something that we're going to revisit. We're going to have a superintendent retreat with our principals, and we're going to make sure that it's going to be a part of the agenda as well for our teachers to be able to get those refresher so that they will be able to use alternative to suspensions. Please bear with us. There are other steps that we're able to take. Dr. Brown and I started getting involved with those long-term suspensions. Before, I was not. I don't think even previous superintendent were involved in that. Any suspension over 30 days, I say, bring it to me. I have to listen to it. So we're making some corrective actions, but I'm not expecting a miracle to happen in a month to be able to change our practices. Give us time to revise our student code of conduct. Give us time to train our folks, our principals, our teachers as well, for alternative to suspension. Riverside folks, I heard you about the investigation. I'm going to ask our legal person here just to be able to check with the person that did the investigation whether or not this report is correct or anything needs to be amended. So stay tuned. We'll be able to have that conversation. I only heard that there was 0 or maybe 1 fight at Riverside High School. I remember being a high school principal. Scooter to you, students. You're doing the right thing. I know spring is coming up. If you can maintain it till the end of the year, that would be amazing. Keep it up. So I think that's pretty much my reactions to all your concerns. We are here to listen to you and making adjustment as well. But the work with us is going to take time.
Thank you, Dr. Mabinga, and thank you, students, for coming out. You're always welcome. We'll have a bigger spot for you next month. I'll give people time to leave, and we'll move on. Okay, so I'm going to continue. Our student representative, Iman Khan, is unable to attend tonight's meeting, but he provided the following updates to be shared. He had two updates, actually. So one, the Inter-High Student Council held its March 13th meeting in the City of Buffalo Council chambers. They had the opportunity to share their thoughts, ideas, and concerns with Superintendent Dr. Mabinga, Honorable Talia Rodriguez, West District Board of Education member, Dr. Sharon Brown, Chief of Student Support Services, and council members, Zanita Everhart and Leah Halton Pope. The students also participated in a tour of City Hall and enjoyed learning about Buffalo's history. Number two, most high schools are participating in the Feed More Western New York Food Drive. This will wrap up on March 26th. You still have time to donate by dropping non-perishable items off at BPS High School, at a BPS High School. The Inner City High School is gearing up for elections. This is the third item for our 2026-27 Inter-High Student Council Executive Committee. Elections will take place on April 30th. So that's the end of his report. Give him a hand if he's looking. Thank you, Iman. We miss you. So now we'll have the superintendent's update.
Thank you, Board President. I have Chief Botticelli. She's ready to present our report.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight is a little bit of a follow-up to our work session the other day. So I was really glad I was able to talk to you about DIBELS and what it measures. So again, remember it's that battery of tests, and we come up with a composite score at the end. And that score really gives us a measure of if students are on track with phonics and the ability to decode the text. So what you're looking at tonight is our current status for DIBELS. I know I also spoke to Lectura last time. Once we have a year's worth of data, we'll be able to come back and also talk to you a little bit more about that, but it's brand new this year. So as you can see, at the beginning of the year, we were at 40% proficiency starting this year. And I want to point out that's the highest starting point we've had in years. So that was a milestone for us. We did slightly decrease, but I'm not concerned. I feel like we're going to rebound quickly. We usually improve from middle to end of year, as you can see the trend for the past few years. So right now, we've steadily improved over time, so we're very happy about that. The schools have about 2.5 years of experience with MyView under their belts. So MyView Univision is our reading core program for grades 3 to 5. So we're looking at 3rd grade economically disadvantaged students data right now. So they'd be participating in instruction using MyView, but certain elements of it lend itself the most to these data points. Because again, these tests for DIBELS are measuring phonics and oral reading fluency. So that would be most impacted by certain elements of the reading program in 3rd. So that would include morphology, which means studying word parts. So when you're in the undergrades, you're learning how to decode, you're learning the basic sounds and applying those sounds to letters. And as you go up through the grade levels, like 3rd-ish, 4th grade, you're doing more of a focus on prefixes, suffixes, and roots. So that's morphology. So there's an element of that in the reading program that students work on. There's also a large emphasis on vocabulary instruction. So we know that vocabulary, if you don't know about 60% of the words in a text, you're not going to understand the text. So we know how important it is to have that emphasis. And the more morphology you're comfortable with, the better decoding you can do. So you can read more complex texts. So over time, we've definitely seen an improvement in the phonics scores. We know that a lot of the training we've provided has helped that. So during intervention, they're also using Orton-Gillingham, which is a type of method to address phonics skills. So our students who are still struggling readers in 3rd would walk to that level of intervention to get additional supports. We actually have trainers coming in to work with our teachers to make sure that they're implementing that methodology appropriately. We've gotten terrific feedback from teachers and administrators who've worked with the team from IMSE, who is the consultant that goes in and coaches teachers who are using our morphology and Orton-Gillingham programs. So we've seen that as a real positive. We've actually had a number of schools request to get additional days next year for the consultants. They've already told us we want them coming back. That we're budgeting for it. Make sure we're in your budget as well. So even though our economically disadvantaged students did not show growth at this moment, again, we are pretty confident. We definitely saw growth at the other grade levels. So it's actually the one grade that did not grow. It went down at 1%. But every other grade did, especially kindergarten, they went up 7 percentage points. So we saw fantastic growth, and those kids will continue to move up through the grade levels. And because they can decode proficiently, they'll be able to access that complex text as they go up, and you're going to see the state scores moving as well. So what's happening now? The reading department, I'm the CAO. We're in schools. The ASLs are constantly visiting their schools to make sure things are in shape, that the instruction is appropriate. The reading department does a lot of professional development. They also go out and help with grade level meetings, helping teachers analyze the data, make adjustments to instruction, address any questions that they have. We're progress monitoring, which we talked a little bit about last week. So we give those benchmark assessments, but in between we also progress monitor, and then we can adjust instruction based on what we're seeing. Again, we've done a ton of professional development to support our intervention programs as well as our core reading program. And our visits are going to continue through the rest of the semester. Does anybody have questions?
I do. And just quickly, so anecdotally and or quantifiably, do we know or take a stab at an explanation why we're not seeing any growth in that particular grade of disadvantaged students? And secondly, the second part of that is using the Mind You reading program since 23-24 is seemingly working. Are we going to keep that particular reading program?
So we've invested in that program. Actually, typically we keep a program that we adopt between 5 and 7 years. It gives the teachers time to develop proficiency with the instructional components, and it allows us to have that consistency to support them. Then we also have the intervention programs, which we also support. I don't know why, in particular, third grade was the one grade level that did not show growth right now, but I am very confident they will by the end of the year. I mean, you can see our trajectory for the past few years have continued to improve, and our starting points get higher and higher. We're focusing really intently with this particular grade level, but at all the schools, just to make sure that the instruction is meeting the needs of the students. So we talked a little bit last time. We do a lot of other things, not just phonics. It's just that this particular test is measuring phonics and the ability to read fluently. But there's a lot of other things happening in the classroom. They're doing writing instruction. Their kids are answering high-level questions in written responses as well as orally. They're learning vocabulary. There's a lot of things happening that aren't necessarily measured by this particular test. And I'm hopeful that when you see our iReady data, that will show.
Thank you. Any other questions for Anna?
So are we just using third grade? Or
This only represents third grade.
will we be able to look at like 7th and 8th grade?
We don't, so Dibble stops at fourth
It
grade.
stops at 4th, okay.
But the iReady test goes higher, but again, the board's goal is not that, those grade levels.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so can I get a motion to approve the board minutes from January 21st, 2026 and February the 11th, 2026?
So moved.
Scott?
Second.
And Raj? Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion passes. The minutes are approved. Exception. Oh, the motion. So can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda? Cindy and Cindy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
What do you mean by accept this? So it's, oh, it's our talk about? Okay, yeah, that's fine.
passing the consent agenda is accepted. Are there any questions or comments regarding items in the consent agenda? And I have that right here. So here we are, 9B, which is exempt personnel changes. Howard McGee is not here, and that was Board Member Scott and Board Member Zulick.
It's actually just a comment, question, so
Okay.
we don't need any set.
All right.
So the chief operations obviously is a critical position, especially in a large urban district, overseeing transportation, which we know is a huge challenge, safety and security, the condition of our buildings, which we heard about today from folks at Burgard. State law says that there's no legal effect to be considered unless we convene as a board and take action. Individual board members don't have any inherent powers by reason of holding office, and it is the responsibility of the superintendent to hire and recommend appointments to this board for approval. We also have a guardrail that says shall not perform or appear to perform any of the responsibilities that get delegated to the superintendent. And just based on information that I have, I do not feel like this process was upheld. And because of that, we are unable at this time to appoint a permanent replacement for the chief of operations, and that is why I'll be in no vote tonight. Has nothing to do with the recommended interim that is on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Board Member Zulick.
Oh yeah, it was more from the Council of Great City Schools lens. Just Dr. Mubanga's part of his responsibility is getting to choose a COO and getting to make that decision. The board should not get involved with personnel decisions. Individual board members should not get involved. I'm worried about liability it could create, and Dr. Mubanga shouldn't have to second guess himself, and we don't want to put him in a position where he's undermined by us and anybody else. So I just wanted to, we read our guardrails, and I want to make sure our behaviors are changing. We're not just saying it, that we are behaving differently. And we'll do better when we get a permanent
COO.
COO.
Thank you. Now, I overlooked 9C, because that was 9D. So 9C is administrative personnel changes, and that's another Holly McGee item. Board Member Hawkins, did you have a comment or a question on that one?
Yeah, I see that there was a principal change at 93. What was the process of an acting appointment of the hire? What was the process of that?
Yeah, thank you, Board Member Hawkins. We had an interim principals that was in place, and that person's last day, if I believe, was like last Thursday. So I had the obligation really to find another acting person to be able to occupy that position. So we had a very qualified person in the district that was working under Chief Bullock. Can you tell me a little bit a title again? Just the title?
Her name is Eileen Waslick. She was my supervisor of school review, and she had.
All right, thank you. And she has experience as a assistant principal already, so it was just a good call as the person is leaving to be able to put somebody there temporarily until we open for the search, and then I'll bring you a permanent person. Again, I just want to say that person also may apply. And that if she's if she's the one that's selected, and I'll bring it to you as a permanent one. But the search is going to be open.
Okay. All right. You good with that one? Okay. So our next item is 17F. Hawkins. Board Member Hawkins, you're on that one too. That's Erie One BOCES annual renewal of special ed frontline services. Actually, that's Monticelli. Oh, she's there.
She's right there. Yeah.
Can you explain to me what that is?
Sure, it's our IEP direct system. So it's funded through BOCES. So when students go through the CSC process and an IEP is developed, it's entered into that particular system, and that's how we store all of those documents. And then schools can access that. So anyone on an individual education plan would have to access this system. It's about 9,000 students because it includes students for speech and related services. It's software.
Essential.
Most districts in New York State use the
Remember using.
Thank you for that explanation. Hawkins, do you have any other questions on that one? Okay. Then we have the, make sure I'm not missing anything. 21A. Thomas Smith Fieldhouse lease rental 2026. That's rentals. And I put myself down here because I just wanted to put on the record that I want to see our children take advantage of the Thomas Smith Field. I've been there. It's a beautiful indoor facility, etc. My understanding that it's a city-owned property. Okay. And for these reasons, that's why I want to put it on the record. Because I'm thinking, why can't our children access this indoor facility free and or at a reduced price? Our suburban counterparts embrace free access to similar facilities. And many of our teams here, 16 out of 24 opted out of competition, and that's unacceptable. So I just wanted to put down on the record, I support the indoor facility, but we have to do better in terms of our teams opting out. We also have, on the same item, Board Member Hawkins, you had a question or a comment about that?
Yes, I mean, me and Dr. Reynolds, we spoke last Friday in reference to that, and I know it was, we all asked for an itemized number. It was up to 75,000. So he said, give us a more accurate number that will fit the description of, the support that we need to finance our kids. So she gave us a great, accurate report right here. I'm fine with this amount here, but only thing I would amend to is where you have resident. Can you put the team's names there so we'll know which team is actually participating at Field 1 on March 9th? And, so we can understand what specific team is there, getting the facilities and the resources that we need, because resident could be anybody. We want to make sure we want to know who we're paying. We're paying for Buffalo Public students.
Okay.
To take
So
advantage
you want
of
the
this
exact
great-
schedule?
Yes, I want the exact schedule of the team names who's going to be in the batting cages from 3 to 5, and then what teams are going to be the resident at Field 1 and Field 2. Yes. So I mean, this is clear cut right here. I have no issues with this number here of the $41,575. We just need specifics on who is going to be at these fields, what schools are going to be at these fields and what time. I did have a question on transportation though. What is the situation regarding the transportation?
Our student athletes receive passes.
They receive passes?
By way of NFTF.
what if they don't make it there on time? If they don't get there on time, or they miss the bus or something like that.
Then they wait for the next bus. It's an NFTA bus pass.
Yeah. A plan.
Safety now would the coaches be instructing these people, the students on these residents, or would it be instructors at the facility?
Our coaches.
Our coaches will be doing that. Okay. Now, how does that affect the league that's happening within the infrastructure? Don't y'all have is there a league? Do y'all have leagues there? Buffalo Youth League, do they have their own league?
Yeah.
So how would that conflict with BPS using it when the Little League team is there?
It wouldn't conflict, so pending the board approval, these are the dates and the times and the specific fields and batting cages that we will use. So if you approve it, we will lock it out.
Now, on weekends, because I know weekends is more time that our students have to get those resources. Now, is that a balance? Is it, I know we have baseball, but we have softball as well. So do the ladies get that fair opportunity to have practices on Saturdays as well? Or how is that scheduled?
So I haven't looked at the exact dates here in terms of the days of the week, but I will tell you that our student athletes, male and female, will have access to it.
And what are your thoughts on the opt-out? If we put this together here and teams opt out, what would be your thoughts on that?
Are you referencing the opting out of the sectionals that we talked about last week? Well, I want to make sure we're not conflating concerns. So as AD Lloyd talked about last week, that's a conversation that we're having with our coaches. That's also, I'll say, a concern that we're addressing by way of negotiations. But it doesn't impact the potential access to the field house.
But it access them not being seen on the proper stages, because these kids are they're going to do a great job in this facility. These kids are going to develop into the players they need to be, but they won't get an opportunity to showcase that because,
So Board Member Hawkins, that's a different conversation for a different time. I am more than willing to meet to further discuss that. But again, it doesn't specifically connect to the field house. Even if, and we know that was a concern with some of the schools and coaches opting out, they still have to practice. So providing access to a state-of-the-art athletic facility is what we want to be able to provide to our student athletes.
No further questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Reynolds. You may as well stay. It's another one. You got one more. And this is the last business affairs item. 22A, Section 6 dues, 2526. So we're talking June of last year to current, right?
We're talking this school year, yes.
Yeah, this school year. And Board Member Hawkins?
I do understand that we do have to pay this money, but I know we didn't really get a chance on clarity on how this number has accrued from over the years. I looked at the number of teams. You said it was 579 teams that we have here?
I don't have that number, but that actually does sound correct.
When I added the number up on the chart, it came up to 483 teams. So is that going to be an increase going into the next union due marker? Or how does that work? Because it was left blank on the chart. That number was left blank.
I'm not sure what chart you're referencing, but in your board packet, you have the itemized breakdown.
Yeah, that number is blank right there.
That first column, I
total
think.
numbers. It says total number of teams. You scroll all the way down at the total is blank.
Oh, okay.
Typo. Yeah, when I added those numbers, it came up to 483 teams instead of the 579.
So is that going to increase our dues?
No. This is the invoice for this year. It is not going to change for this year.
Oh, that's
No,
good.
it's not.
So okay, yeah, the number is the number, but 579 and 483. So somewhere it's off somewhere.
I've not tabulated this, but based upon what you're saying, then that's to our benefit because we're paying less.
Right.
If we're paying for 473, which I'm hoping Section 6 isn't listening to this, then based upon what you're saying, you're trying to drive our costs up. So.
I mean,
Yeah.
Been trying to gauge the numbers.
You should probably leave it alone.
I should
Yeah.
leave it alone.
You should probably leave it alone.
We're gonna leave that one alone
I guess.
because that number is already high. What we paying them?
If the number goes up, we're all gonna point our fingers at you.
Yeah.
I need you to know that.
Well, fingers get pointed at me anyway, so I'm fine with that.
Bless you.
Bless you. Bless you. But yeah, number of teams for alternative, it says 11 teams. We got 11 sports teams on alternative.
So here's where, again, Amy Lloyd referenced this last week. What we've been paying for since 2019 is access for our students. So we talk a lot about equity and equity lens. So no, they don't have that number of sports, but we wanted to provide an opportunity in the event that they want to participate. I'll tell you though, that's somewhat problematic for us. So this is where I said that athletic department right now, we're having tough conversations. We're doing an analysis. And we want to find out from the students because we want to make sure that we're making decisions based upon what our students want. So I'll just say that there may be changes moving forward where we're going to see the number of sports that are actually being offered in the school as opposed to the number of sports that are being offered to the students. So again, we're paying for access versus actual number of sports.
So, all right. I'm no further questions.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Reynolds. Okay, so that was the questions for the exception. Can I get a motion to, General Counsel, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Scott, McCutcheon. All in favor?
No.
Oh, we already did that?
Roll call.
All right, Council, General Counsel, please poll the board.
Okay, with respect to the motion to approve the consent agenda, how do you like to vote? Do you have any exceptions? Board member vote.
No exceptions except 9D.
President Everhart?
No exceptions. Except for 90.
D? D or B?
D is in David?
D is in David.
And I think
Oh, no exceptions. Thank you.
So she has none.
there's 2 lines on that, I think, too.
You got
Right.
B is civil service and D is exempt personnel.
At all.
No
Thank you.
exceptions.
Okay. And board member Rowan, for clarification, for 9D, I believe there was a first line and a second line. I don't remember what the numbers were within the packet,
1 and 2, yeah.
but I think your thing was noted.
But 90
first.
is for the COO.
91.
90.
COO.
Okay, the COO. All right. So do you have any exceptions, board member Hawkins?
I have exceptions other than, what's that, 90?
The 91.
90. Yeah, 91, and I guess, only exception I had to, 21A was just the clarification of the residents and making sure that
Mhm.
41, 575.
Okay. So your approval for that specific line item would be upon condition of receiving that
Right.
clarification.
Yes.
Do you have any exceptions, board member McCacken?
Exception 9D. Line 1.
Board member Rodriguez?
Do you have any exceptions?
No.
Board Member Scott?
Exception 9C, line 10, and exception 9D, line 1. Other than that, no exceptions.
Board Member Wright, do you have any exceptions?
No.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, this is
Right.
Oh, yes, yes.
This is Burgard.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I would like to
Thank
recuse.
you.
I would like to recuse myself from 11B, due to employment purposes.
Vice President Zulik?
Very good.
I have an exception for 9D, line 1.
President Evans Brown?
No exceptions.
Okay, with the exception of item 9D1, the consent agenda is approved. 9D1 is not approved, so there's no approval of the interim COO.
Okay, and and I thought I heard a conversation that we support the superintendent in his decisions. And here we are backpedaling what we said.
Can I make a comment? As I said this before, COO is a big position. Can I run the district with a COO? I'm gonna go back to the drawing board and try to find another interim, but I will ask board for a special board meeting instead of waiting for another month. So as soon as I find another interim, we need a special board meeting.
Yes.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mabenga.
I guess I just want to clarify, I support his choice, and I felt like the choice, the process got like this option's there because he didn't have his choice, is my understanding.
We didn't get a chance to vote on that or support.
I can't hear you. What did you say, Cindy?
We didn't get a chance to necessarily support his choice, right? We kind of are settling for something because the process got murky to begin with. And we're left with the space we're in. So we do support him.
And we're looking forward to a meeting
Yes.
quickly.
Yeah.
All right, let me make sure I understand this. To be able to open the process, to interview, it may take us a good month before I can bring you a candidate. But in the meantime, we have a month without an interim. So if I bring you another interim, are we still going to use the same logic that said the process was corrupted, or you may consider that interim person?
I'll consider.
I think with assurances that the process is gonna be implemented in the views of the board members with fidelity.
Okay. Okay. All right, thank you. Again, interim is not going to be interview. I have to go and look at folks that have done this work before. All right, thank you. So
Okay.
hopefully we have a special call meeting soon. Appreciate it.
All right, so let's not backpedal. All right, so we have before us a resolution to rename, thank you, Dr. Mabenga.
Thank you.
We have before us a resolution to rename Community School 53 to the Nan M. Wood Community School of Excellence. This resolution has been introduced by Board Member Wright, and I would ask him to read the resolution at this time.
Good evening, everyone, again. This resolution is to rename PS 53 to the Nan M. Woods Community School of Excellence, introduced by Honorable Board Member Stefan Wright, Ferry District Board Member, co-sponsored by Honorable Dr. Kathy Evans Brown, President and East District Board Member, Honorable Anita L. Everhart, Vice President of Executive Affairs and Board Member at Large, Honorable Adriana K. Zulich, Vice President of Student Achievement and Honorable Board Member at Large, Honorable Cindy M. McDecken. I'm sorry. North District Board Member. Honorable Air T. Bowen, South District Board Member, and Honorable Lawrence Scott, Board Member at Large. Whereas it is requested by Community School PS 53, the family of Mrs. Nan McCarley Wood, and the community members of the city of Buffalo, that the late Mrs. Nan M. Wood be honored by naming Community School PS 53 in her honor, and whereas the school community of Community School PS 53 under Board Policy 5631 has followed and met the required criteria and all required guidelines pertaining to petitioning, public information, and community meetings. And whereas Mrs. Wood served the Buffalo community as an educator of distinction, beginning her career as a teacher at PS 6 and PS 52, and whereas Mrs. Wood also served the city school district as assistant principal at Fillmore Middle School, ultimately becoming the principal of Public School 53 in 1972. And whereas under Mrs. Wood's visionary leadership, Public School 53 grew to an enrollment of 1,200 students by 1987, making it the largest elementary school in the district. And whereas Mrs. Nan and Woods consistently championed education enrichment opportunities, mostly notably her creation of student travel experiences across the United States, Canada, and Europe. And whereas Mrs. Woods work extended beyond traditional instructional leadership, and she tirelessly advocated for resources, established community servicing space such as a home economics laboratory, and fostered a culture of excellence that impacted generations of students and families. And whereas Mrs. Nan M. Wood received numerous recognitions for her outstanding service, including the Push for Excellence Award and the Black Educators Association Educator of the Year Award. And whereas Mrs. Woods and her daughter Lauren Woods made history as the first Black mother and daughter duo to serve as principal of elementary schools within the city the Buffalo public school system. And whereas community stakeholders, including students, family, alumni, staff, and local leaders, have expressed support for naming the school after Mrs. Wood, honoring her enduring impact on education in the Buffalo community. Therefore, be it resolved that the Buffalo Board of Education, based on the recommendation of the Community School PS 53 community, family of Mrs. Nan M. Wood in the community, and the student positively influenced and supported by the service of the late Mrs. Nan M. Woods, respectfully approves the renaming of Community School PS 53 to the Nan M. Wood Community School of Excellence.
So you heard the resolution read by Board Member Wright. Can I get a motion to adopt this resolution?
Motion.
Eberhard Zulich, I'm sorry. Any discussion? Yes.
I just want to say that I have got the opportunity to go to School 53 a couple times. I just recently was able to go meet with the principal and the ASL of the school, Dr. Cedric. I got a tour of the school. I grew up with I never met Miss Woods, but I grew up with her grandson Cameron. Cameron's father, I know him very well, and the community for PS 53 is very excited about this. I know Mrs. Cotman, former Ferry District School Board member, she was in the works to make this happen and help the community and the school, but I think the process got lost. But when I got on, I promised the family and the school and the community that I would help make this happen. And with the support from the board here tonight, and Dr. Mubang, I hope that we can make this happen and make this family proud, and they also gave us a commitment of service or donations, or whenever that school needs something, they'll be there to support the school and the school's community. So I'm asking for your support tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Another comment?
That was my first school.
Wow.
Early push to first grade, but
Wow.
early push turns into pre-K, I guess, right? Early push. So
It's impressive.
I'm very ecstatic that she is being honored in that light. But so how soon will her name go up? What's the process?
Okay.
Mary?
Dr. Bullock
Okay.
has a comment.
Once, Chief Counsel gives me the BOE or the resolution, if I can get it this morning, I'll push it through the state tomorrow. So, once it's just a rubber stamp. I'll send it to you now.
Okay, Eric, you had a comment.
Yeah, I didn't know Nan would, but I want to congratulate Stefan for what you did for the family and hearing Daryl Keith Wood today. Sounded like she was a very wonderful person, and this is a great thing for the community, and the community should be very thankful for you. So I want to congratulate you on this.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank ASL Cedric, because she helped me out a lot with this. With preparing my first resolution, with helping me make do our work session during the presentation when Dr. Mubenga wasn't here. So I couldn't have done it without our ASL of the school, Dr. Cedric. So I just want to give her flowers and thank her.
Absolutely.
And thank all y'all for
Dr. Cedric has been through these types of events many occasions. So she is becoming the expert in this space. So yeah, we appreciate Dr. Cedric. If there's no additional discussion, General Counsel, would you please poll the board?
On the motion to adopt the resolution to rename Community School PS 53 to the Nan M. Wood Community School of Excellence, how do you vote, Board Member Bowen?
Yes.
Vice President Everhart?
Yes.
Board Member Hawkins?
Yes.
Board Member McKevitt? Yes. Board Member Rodriguez? Aye. Board Member Scott?
Yes.
Board Member Wright?
Yes.
Vice President Zulich?
Yes.
And President Cummins Brown?
Yes.
The motion unanimously passes.
Yay. Okay, so we also have before us a resolution regarding the Jack Donahue Memorial Track. This resolution has been introduced by Board Member Bowen, and I will ask him to read the resolution at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Brown, and I want to thank the superintendent on this and our former COO, Luca Trusi, for getting this going. And this all inspired from our presentation from the athletic department a few weeks ago that we have a lack of fields. And I did take the superintendent over behind PS under 93, and we have a working track there. It just needs a little TLC, and that's where we came to the resolution of the Jack Donahue Memorial Track. Introduced by the Honorable Eric T. Bowen, the Park District Board Member. Co-sponsored by Honorable Dr. Kathy Evans Brown, President and East District Board Member. Honorable Janita L. Everhart, Vice President of Executive Affairs and Board Member at Large. Honorable Adriana K. Zulich, Vice President of Student Achievement and Board Member at Large. Honorable Cindy M. McEachen, North District Board Member. Honorable Larry Scott, Board Member at Large. And Honorable Stefan Wright, Ferry District Board Member. Whereas the Jack Donahue Memorial Track is located behind Public School 93, South Summit Elementary in South Buffalo. Whereas the City of Buffalo has been responsible for maintaining the track for many years. Whereas years of neglect and vandalism have caused unsafe conditions for community members and children to properly use the track. Whereas children from the neighborhood and nearby have used the Jack Donahue track for many years. Whereas to promote health and wellness, it would be beneficial for students in the Buffalo Public Schools to be using the track. Therefore, be it resolved, the Buffalo Board of Education requests that the Superintendent and Chief Operating Officer work with the City of Buffalo Division of Real Estate to transfer the Jack Donahue Memorial Track to the control of the Buffalo Public Schools.
Okay, so you heard the resolution read by Board Member Eric Bowen. Can I get a motion to adopt this resolution? Scott, right? Any discussion?
I just want to say that I support our South District board member Bowen in this endeavor. Me and board member Hawkins got a chance to go visit him in South Buffalo and meet some of his supporters, his friends, his family. And I know it was a big fuss about us paying the city over this baseball field, and I think I know now that the city has control over this field, but Buffalo Public Schools will take over it, and I think this will be a good opportunity for our students to be able to use that track field. From all districts, from all communities to use this field, and Eric, if it get passed, for each district students need to use it, please pick that phone up. Thank you.
Okay.
I also like to say something in regards to School 93. I was vice president of the Ducks organization where Southside was our home for a few years. We couldn't have a field. We didn't have a field of our own, so Southside opened their arms to us and let us use the field on Saturdays for our program. So I'm forever grateful for that, getting an opportunity for our kids, for Southside to do that. So, that track, I know exactly what he's talking about. So I'm all for whatever Eric's work when it comes to the South District. So just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, General Counsel, please poll the board.
Motion to adopt the resolution regarding the Jack Donahue Memorial Track. How do you vote? Board Member Bowen.
Yes.
Vice President Everhart.
Yes.
Board Member Hawkins.
I think that's a yes.
Board Member McEachen. Yes. Board Member Rodriguez. Yes. Board Member Scott.
Yes.
Board Member Wright.
Yes.
Vice President Zilla.
Yes.
And President Evans Brown.
Yes.
And the motion unanimously.
Yay. So unfinished business, we're doing pretty good at 7:50. Can I have a motion authorizing the district to fully settle pending litigation, JMH 200 Doe versus Buffalo City School District with New York State Supreme Court Index Number 811495-2019 in the amount not to exceed $500,000. Board Member Rodriguez, second by McCutcheon. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any absenteeisms? Motion passes. Number 2, can I get a motion authorizing the district to fully settle pending litigation matters involving the same infant plaintiff, Dixon versus Buffalo City School District, with New York State Supreme Court Index numbers 803-734-2020 and 806-461-2022 in the amount not to exceed $25,000. McCutcheon, Rodriguez. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? I could never pronounce that. Motion passes. Now we may have bereavements. Please stand.
Bereavements for March 18, 2026. January 21st, Kathleen Peel Trowitz, sister of Patrick Kearns, librarian at Discovery School 67. February 10th, Dr. Colette Kars, Native American Resource Program, coordinator at School 19. February 27th, William Leslie Petties, father of Leslie Petties, school counselor at Middle Early College High School, and Tina Jones, assistant superintendent of student support services. March 6th, Bishop William A. Dockery, former teacher at Seneca Vocational High School, now known as MST, and grandfather to speech pathologist, remedial speech teacher Samantha McLean, and school social worker Cheryl McLean. March 11th, Judith Gail Bryson Harper, retired Buffalo Public Schools teacher, aide and mother of Leslie Petties, school counselor at Middle Early College High School, and stepmother to Tina Jones, Assistant Superintendent of Student Support Services. March 17th, Wanda Scott, aunt of Chief Tammy Holly McGee in Human Resources. March 17th, Antoine Julio Robinson, the Vice President of First Student Union and cousin of board member Louis Mookie Hawkins. Can we have a moment of silence? Thank you.
Lastly, may I have a motion to end this meeting? Eberhard, Zulik, all in favor? All right, any